What's going on, guys? We got a bit of an emergency video. Jake Sanderson has obviously signed an extension with the Ottawa Senators, 8 years, $8.05 million. I immediately came out and said that I really liked the deal, to which I was kind of, not clown, but there was a lot of angry replies. So I wanted to go in depth around probably like 6 to 8 minutes on why I think this is such a good deal. I've already made a TikTok on it, already made a couple tweets, a couple Instagrams, but I really wanted to dive in on why I personally think Jake Sanderson is eventually going to become a legit, at the bare minimum, a very good number two, probably a good number one defenseman in this league, and why, given the current salary structure and the salary cap going up, this is going to be a very good deal. It is. You look at Jake Sanderson as a rookie, solid rookie year for a defenseman. Defensemen usually don't burst onto the scene till later, and usually they struggle right out of the gate. You look at a Jake Sanderson, walked into the league, very solid both ways at only age 20, playing like 22 to 23 minutes a night. Like, he was not sheltered. You look at that competition in terms of his J-Fresh card. He was playing their hardest opponents, playing 22, 23 minutes a night. And you look at it, this isn't just some guy that came out of nowhere, had one freak season. He was the 5th overall pick for a reason, developed 2 years in college, and he was able to step onto the stage immediately and contribute at a high level. So you look at that. Last year alone, he was probably like a $5.5 million player, a mid-30s, because he missed a couple games, mid-30 point, solid two-way second pair. It's like a $5.5 million defenseman, and he did that only at age 20. So you look at him over the next couple years. Yes, I do think he's going to slowly get better, take that next step next year. In the first year of his contract, he's probably not going to be worth $8 million, but by the time he's 24, 25, hitting his prime, he's going to be a legit 50 to 55 point number one two-way beast. You look at some of the other projections on what the Ottawa Senator fans are saying. This is kind of just, this is a little bit biased, I'm not going to lie, but for any non-Senator fan wondering why Jake Sanderson got an 8x8, listen to me right now, the kid is a stud, and New York just got ahead of the breakout year. Skates like the wind, moves the puck insanely well, is strong defensively already, and his offensive potential hasn't even been remotely tapped. No Sens fan in the world will be questioning. That's obviously biased, but personally, when I have seen Jake Sanderson play in the little bit that I have, I've maybe seen like 5 or 6 games of him. He was so mature above his years. And again, those physical tools that you just cannot teach, those intangibles with Jake Sanderson were so evident. And again, with that offensive potential, Thomas Chabot, rightfully so for the most part, has been their main offensive defenseman for the past three years, especially last year. He's their number one power play quarterback. He really not hogs the offense, hogs the puck in terms of defensemen, but I think you're going to start to see Jake Sanderson over the next couple of years get more of an offensive role on that team and really start to be able to grow into his own, because again, although he does have a bunch of physical tools, he still is kind of a raw player. He's only 21 years old. So I think when we see him take that next step, it's really going to be special. And you look at him in terms of even a guy like Dom, I always botch his name, Dom from The Athletic. Even him, he's a Leafs fan. He loves his Leafs. Even he had to admit, this is a pretty solid deal. He's not an $8 million defenseman yet. But if you look at that positive value probability, yes, the model is a little bit lower on him than maybe me. But eventually, again, once salary cap goes up, 46% chance of being positive value, 50, 52, 54, 56. And that's what I want to touch on next. What makes this deal good, in my opinion, is we're not in a flat cap system anymore. It's not like right now, $8 million is what you pay for a legit number one defenseman. I agree. Not a legit number one, probably like a low-end number one defenseman. Like Jared Spurgeon gets $8 million. I think he's a very good player, but he is a number one, maybe a lower-end number one. That is not Jake Sanderson right now. That's probably not going to be Jake Sanderson in even 2 years. So I agree that right now, if we were in a flat cap system, this is kind of a fat deal. If he signed this in 2019, the deal maybe wouldn't age that fantastically. But slowly and steadily, the cap is going to go up. It's $83.5 million. It already went up $1 million this past year. It's expected to go to $87.5 the following offseason, then all the way to $92 million. So you look at this, again, going back to that Dom tweet, it's not a flat cap system. So just naturally, even if he stays the same level of player, the contract's going to age better because the salary cap is going up. So you look at this, you're getting Jake Sanderson from ages 22 to 23. He's basically going to be in his entire prime for most of that once he gets to like 24. So this deal is just going to age fantastically. Right now, You pay a low end number one defenseman $8 million. In 3-4 years, that's what you're going to pay a good number two defenseman. Look at it. Orlov, that was a 2-year deal, but he's already getting $7.8 million. So you're already seeing these teams spend more. And God knows at the end of that deal, year 6, 7, 8, which is 7, 8, 9 from now because it doesn't kick in until the following year, $8 million might be what you pay a very good number three defenseman. Do we think Jake Sanderson is going to be a good number two defenseman in his prime from ages 24 to 28, 29? I think we all have to agree on that based on what we saw in the rookie year. I get he might not become a legit number one, 55 to 60 point, get Selke votes every single year. That might be too much to ask for. I'm higher on him than most. I 1,000%. I'll concede on that. But do we not think that he's going to be, at least based on a 32-point, very good rookie season on a bad team, that he's going to be around mid-40s, maybe high 40s, solid number two-way beast? I think that's like the worst case scenario at this point. People are overreacting because they see $8 million. They see Cale Makar only makes $9 million. Adam Fox only makes $9 million. Miro Heiskanen only makes 8.6. Speaking about Miro Heiskanen, the problem with Miro Heiskanen is, although he was better than Jake Sanderson when he signed his deal back in like 2019, and he got killed for that deal. They did not think, that was before the Cup run, they did not think that he was worth that back then. So you see this trend of these guys locking up their defensemen early, and you can't compare it to these other deals that were signed in a flat cap era. This deal is going to age very, very well, and now you look at the comparisons for Jake Sanderson's contract. Don't get me wrong, I think these guys right now are better than him. Heiskanen's going to be better throughout it. Sergachev, I would put Jake Sanderson on the same level as Sergachev, and some of these guys are older guys. But in terms of this, for the most part, $8 million is not next level number one eliteness, even right now in the NHL, even when the cap hasn't really exploded yet. So you look at that. Aaron Ekblad, no one thinks Aaron Ekblad's massively overpaid. Do we think Jake Sanderson's going to be in the same range as Aaron Ekblad? I think it's possible. Jacob Trouba, obviously. Brett Burns getting up there in age. But Morgan Riley, do we think Jake Sanderson's going to be a better two-way defenseman than Morgan Riley? I think it's very possible. So you look at that, $8 million is really not that much, even right now for a defenseman. Again, just going back, these guys are all low-end number ones for the most part. Chabot, Riley, Spurgeon, Ekblad. Low-end number ones or mid-number ones. I think that's going to be Jake Sanderson, most likely in his career, a solid top 15 defenseman, maybe top 10. But even if he's not, he doesn't have to be because the cap is going to start rising. And you look at the Senators in terms of their balance sheet as a whole, they have a lot of pretty expensive players. Chabot, I think Sanderson becomes their fifth guy over $8 million. Yeah, Stützle, Tkachuk, Batherson. But you look at it, they're all on pretty solid deals. I like their cap structure, although they do have some big money. Chabot's probably the one where maybe he's not. I think he's like a $7.5 million defenseman. Josh Norris is not listed. Josh Norris, if he comes back and is like when he scores 35 goals, he's around $8 million. But Stützle's a fantastic deal. Kachuk's a fantastic deal, no doubt. Claude Giroux, if he doesn't fall off a cliff, fantastic deal. Batherson, under $5 million, fantastic. So you look at their cap structure, even with Sanderson. Yes, they have some players making around $8 million. They have 5 of them, but they're all on solid deals. Like, that's the thing. The Toronto Maple Leafs, although they were pretty top-heavy, Matthews was positive value. Marner was the problem was Tavares wasn't really pulling his weight, so as a whole, that sank. But even in their structure, most of their top guys were outperforming. It's not the end of the world to give a lot of guys top money. The problem is when one or two of those guys don't live up to it. As long as you're getting surplus value out of those contracts, like I think Stützle is going to be $3 to $4 million surplus, Kachuk's going to be $2 million surplus. That's fine. So I don't think that there's a big worry. Oh, the Senators have 5 $8 million players. That's $40 million about. The salary cap in 3 years is going to be $92 million. That's not the end of the world. You can build a team around that. So just overall, what are we at? 9 minutes. Geez, 9 minutes. Overall with Jake Sanderson, yeah, Is he going to be worth $8 million maybe the first year of his deal? No, but he's also going to be 23 years old. He's not going to be in his prime yet. And once he gets to his prime, he's going to be at least a good top pairing guy that's going to be worth $8 million with the cap going up. And overall, if you're the Senators, this could end up being an utter steal. And I think it will be an utter steal because I think Jake Sanderson will end up being a 55 to 60 point, very good number one defenseman. But let me know in the comments, what do you think? Do you guys like these little videos on the breaking news instead of me kind of waiting till the show? I wasn't waiting until Friday with this because it's so controversial. But yeah, let me know in the comments. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Follow all my links. Appreciate it. See you guys.